Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realms of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta and Yvonne, and as always, the Realm. And every week, we are very pleased to be on Transformation Talk Radio at Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Listeners, thank you for joining us today. Shifting Impressions will help you examine your life and your creation of reality, to look at what you're creating and how it shows up, and perhaps shift your perspective on what you're creating. Every week, we discuss a quotation that Gretta has downloaded from the Realm of Beings, and this week, we'll be talking about tragedy within you. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning, Leigh. Good morning.
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Well, ladies, the quotation we will be unraveling this week is release all sense of tragedy within you. Also, do not see it in others. So when I read that, I was thinking, tragedy, that's an interesting word, right? So I just said, what does the dictionary have to say about tragedy? And it says, well, it's talking about a literary work, which is interesting, right? Because, if this world is a play and we are merely players creating our realities within, we are creating our own drama, right? So it says, one who suffers extreme sorrow, especially as a consequence of a tragic flaw, moral weakness, or inability to cope with unfavorable circumstances. So I said, I can see how we create that. Some of us knowingly, some of us unknowingly create our own situations. And when there's drama, right, we sometimes do not know how to handle it, and we create our own suffering. So how do we release all sense of that within us and not see it in others? That's the question.
That's all.
I think that's my question.
Tragedy. Yvonne chose this one for us this morning. Tragedy. Tragedy means different things to different people. I know you read the quotation or the definition from the dictionary, but everybody sees tragedy differently. Somebody else may be going through something that they think is the most horrible thing that they could possibly be going through. And another person looking at that person, even though they're exchanging and the person is talking, communicating to them about how they are feeling so downtrodden and whatever, but the other person can think, that's not so bad. Why are they so upset? So that's why I'm saying that tragedy is an individual experience.
Like everything.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Leigh.
No, I'm saying like everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's tragic to you is not necessarily what's tragic for me,
Right.
you know.
I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into this because the
Mhm.
quote says, release all sense of tragedy.
Mhm.
So, if we kind of expand on that idea, we're closer to the idea of everything is energy, right? So, the sense of tragedy. So it's not actually a physical occurrence. It seems like it is. And that's where we go with creation of reality once again. Everything is an illusion and everything is our creation. Everything is energy. So I guess if we don't put too much importance in terms of feeding that sense of tragedy with our thoughts and our emotions, it may not have such a powerful effect in our lives. I know that might seem like maybe that I'm not recognizing people's pain or people's suffering, but I am. I mean, I am, because I've experienced enough of my own in recent weeks, but it is all energy, all the everything. And so, like, if you release that sense of negativity around it, or pain, again, suffering, then it may not have such a grip on your life, and you may end up having the space for things that you truly value, like joy, maybe, whatever they mean to you, whatever they look like to you.
You know, one thing, I'm in agreement with you, Yvonne. And the thing, is, like you said, sense, which makes it an illusion. But it seems so real.
Yes.
We're going through it. It is so real. And sometimes we go through tragic situations when we're children, and we carry them all the way through and reenact them over and over and over again as adults. So tragedy can be very deep situation. And then that other part to it that says don't see it in others. That's telling you don't go down to sympathy for somebody else's experience, because when you have sympathy, or you're going to accept their tragedy, then you're giving energy to the tragedy itself. So you want to attempt to get rid of it within you, and then you don't want to see it in somebody else, because let me add this, if we want to take it real deep, the only way you can see that tragedy in somebody else is because you have that tragic experience yourself, or you're connected to it somehow, because that's the only way you can see things in other people.
Yes.
It's, you have grabbed hold to that within your own life, so therefore you see it in somebody else's life, and then because you've experienced it, then you turn around and feel sorry for the person, and what you don't realize is that you're just concretizing it for yourself, and further assisting the person in being in that experience deeper. So, what's tragic? I can look back on my own life and I see certain situations that said, yeah, we could say that's tragic, that's tragic, that's tragic. So I could say that I've gone through many tragedies in this lifetime. And but to dwell on it, I really work with myself not to dwell on it. And I tell people, it's not that these things come up that you relieve yourself of it. So I don't want people to think that because we say,
okay, don't give energy to it, release it and all that. Yeah, sure, we want you to do that, but we're not telling you you're going to release it in one day,
Yeah.
5 minutes after it happens. I mean, I've had some tragedies that I was experiencing looping in that tragedy for 62 years of my life.
A long time, Greta.
Yeah, it is. It is, until I could finally see it.
Yeah, you transmute it. You don't really get rid of it. You just, it's the energy is still there, but by recognizing it, saying, I don't want any more of this, then you somehow change it up and shift, right? That's what we're doing. We're shifting.
Is it about like, changing, like kind of releasing your attachment to it and changing your perspective on it, right? I mean, gaining some new understanding, it's like going to that place where, good and bad, right and wrong, tragic, joyful. I mean, it's everything is in the way we view it, in the way we're looking at things, right? So maybe some incidents or occurrence will be labeled tragic at one time, but if we can just kind of examine it from another perspective, um, and change the label, I guess. Like when you change the label, you change the energy, right? Maybe instead of viewing it as this like horrible, tragic event, it is like you can look at it somehow and say, oh, but there was some learning in there. There was some understanding I gained from that. And, now I can do something different, or just, and just like, I guess, release, like looking at it from a different angle is like the first step in changing it, right? Because you have a different view then.
Right.
Yeah,
And then you honor it in like, I have a good example. I guess I'll bring it in because it's kind of it has weighed on me, but I mean, I feel like it's lifted. It's not heavy, like it's not heavy anymore. But a couple of weeks ago, my husband has a very good friend, and he was struggling in a relationship and had some substance issues. And he came in January, and we, provided some support to him. But then just recently, he ended up taking his life, and that's a tragedy, like it was his mother. It's affected everybody, that choice that he made. But looking at it, I still have to look at it as that it was his choice, and a lot of people around him feel guilty about not being able to help him or save him. And like I think that's a good example in discussing this tragic event. So how can we support him where he is now, whatever his energy is? So I decided to light a couple candles and continually just offer him thoughts of peace and like less chaos. Like he was in a very much of a state of chaos. So you do whatever you can do. Like you can't change the fact that he was in the woods and he chose what he chose to do. And there's a lot of people around him now that miss him. He was a very vital person and offered a lot, but he did not recognize that somehow in himself. And it was, again, it's his life, it's his choice to do what he did. I'm not condoning suicide by any means, but I that's a really large piece of violence. And I'm a peace-loving person, so but who knows exactly what his lessons were. I mean, we know that he did make a decision when he came in, when he incarnated, that he was going to go out, he was going to live the life he lived, and that's what happened. So I feel like I was obviously sad and upset, but I don't feel guilty about doing enough. I think, you know, that's different perspective than I would have had probably months or years ago on this situation.
Mhm. Yes, yes. I guess I'm doing a lot of agreement with both of you this morning. Yeah. When somebody, just to reiterate it, we all choose when we're going to go, how we're going to go. That's our choice, because we create our reality. You don't create your reality sometime and then the other part of your life you don't. You know, you're creating it consistently. I was just talking to this one lady who wanted to work with me, but then I told her, I said, I come from the perspective that you create your own reality. So she told me, she said, well, I'm a loving person. I said, well, that's good. She was defining herself like that. And then she said, I'm a wonderful person. I'm kind. I create the things that are good, I create, but somebody else creates all the negative things in my life. So she firmly believed it. So she firmly believed that she only had control of her life for quote unquote good, but she didn't have control over her life for quote unquote bad, you know. So, but the tragedy, going back to tragedy, we create the tragedy. So if we create the tragedy, we can uncreate the tragedy. The thing is how to uncreate the tragedy. And I know Leigh was talking about, you know, just changing how we think and changing our perception. Like I'm dealing with an issue again this week, and I know where it came from, and I'm working with myself to change it and to look at it, but it's still there, you know. So it's not going to just go away. In some cases, if you create it to go away instantly, then it'll go away. You got to create it. But apparently, I want to learn some more about this lesson. So therefore, it hasn't left me yet, you know, and I'm waiting. I'm saying, look, let's get going, get going. I'm tired of this. I don't want to be bothered with this anymore, you know, and for some odd reason, it still wants to reel up and say, no, there's something more. There's something you missed, Greta. You're missing something. You're missing a piece to the puzzle. So that's why we keep showing you
Under the table. It fell off the table.
Oh, somebody stole it in our house. There's people that do the puzzle all the time, and then there's the ones that show up occasionally, and then they want to put the last piece in. I've had them take it, put it in their pocket. I'm like, no. Somewhere else.
But that's what I'm saying, like, look under the table. It's like, just change.
Yeah.
Like, look at another place for that piece, you know, like there's got to be, it's missing, but it's there somewhere. You just have to see it, recognize it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. And I think that I've recognized it. But like I said, I'm missing the puzzle piece that somebody took and put in their pocket. So I couldn't. So, you know.
We'll help you find it, Greta.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I won't save you, though. Trust me.
All right.
Do it for you. You're going to have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, I know. That's the interesting part about it. That's what makes life interesting. You know, I was talking to a lady this morning that I was facilitating for, and I told her, I said, you know, I said, right now I am about peace. That's it. If you can't bring me, or if I don't create for you to bring me peace, then I'm going to create for you I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Because, and sometimes we want to hang on to people. that don't bring us peace. They give us angst, but we keep with them. We can't let them go. You know, it's like you're saying, when you can't let them go, it's like saying, bring me more angst. Bring me more angst. You know, show me again. Slap me again, you know, hit me again, steal from me again, you know, and it's release those people, you know, release them. How do you do that? It's simple. Just say, I release this person out of my life and stick to it. See, that's the thing. Sometimes we don't stick to it. We think that we quote unquote love the person, so we don't, even though they're doing terrible things to us, that not that they're, let me correct myself, they're not doing terrible things to us. We are creating that. What they're doing is supporting us with these things to show us where we're at. So, but even with that, it's to release, work on that. There's so many people out here in distraught relationships. They don't want to give them up. They want to stay in them. They want to go through tragedy after tragedy after tragedy with them. That means you haven't learned your lesson with those people yet. If you got to keep them around.
Don't you go back to the biggest lesson of all is, if you really did love yourself, and that was inside of you, fully integrated in your body, in your heart, every piece of you loved yourself, those people wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be showing up.
That's right.
So you hold on. Don't have to get rid of them. You have to do the work.
Yeah. Oh, here comes.
Because so now this is interesting, and I'm glad you backtracked, Greta, because you said, "Oh, these people doing something to me," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know."
Leigh and I were censoring that. I could tell. Nope.
I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's what we've been telling the people. What's been happening?
Censor.
Yeah.
But then you know, so if see, and this is the part perhaps that I get tripped up on even still. So I understand, like with relationship, that it could, that, you know, there's a reflection of what that person is supporting us in, right? So do you have to release the person? Because that's like a judgment, right? That's still kind of, I feel like that, like, I might be wrong, but I feel like when we're saying, oh, I need to release them from my life because they are creating this so-and-so, not bringing me peace, you know, would it be like, do we really have to release them? Or is it still just like, okay, I must recognize that I want to I want to create peace, but it must not be there because this person is still there. So, okay, so I guess it's like, do we release the person, and is that just like pseudo fixing the problem? Or two, if we actually generate the peace within, will that person support change, or will they just kind of fall away? So should we eliminate the people?
They're going to support you. They will support you where you're at.
Right. So does that mean they leave, or they just like change?
You know what? I have two examples for that. My first husband was experiencing alcoholism. However, very spiritual person. He stopped drinking, things got better. Then he started drinking again. I said to myself, I am not going to make it this time. I won't, because he would, when he would drink, he would become violent. So, you know, and I loved him a lot. But the thing was, I said, if I have to go through what I just came out of, I do not want to do this again. So there was a prayer that I was given when I was praying, because I was at 26 years old at that time. And I said that prayer, you say it 19 times for 40 days. I said that prayer 19 times for 40 days. I didn't miss a beat.
Ooh.
the 40th day I turned over and that man had made his transition. He sure did. He
Whoa.
sure did. Made his transition. And I said, whoa, you know, I don't know if I meant that. I said, I didn't mean that. You know, of course, that was hindsight.
Can't take it back, Greta. That was
I
his
sure
choice.
couldn't. But he supported me. See, that was the support. You know,
That's a very powerful story. I never heard that one before.
Oh yeah, he came, and in fact, he came. He was drunk when they found him. They couldn't find him, so they went. I mean, I didn't know where he was, so they went and found him. Meaning his friends. They brought him back to the house, and I said, just lay him on the floor, because I knew that he was going to throw up, defecate, go through all those things because he was drunk when he's coming out of it. So I just said, lay him down there, and I just went to sleep. Slept through the whole thing. I looked over to see how he was, and I looked at him because he was down on the floor, you know, next to me. We had cushions and all that kind of stuff for him to lay on. And I said, doggone it, this man is dead.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. I turned over, I said, he is dead. I said, oh my goodness, you know. And
Wow.
then the next thing I thought about, I said, these people are going to think, because I was in Africa, right? So it's a very spiritual situation. So I said, the first thing that came to my mind, I said, they're going to think I killed him. And sure enough, they did. Because look what I
Again,
I spoke
right
it.
off that, right? So
I spoke it. So therefore you did. So I had to go through the whole thing, you know, and they realized, oh, you know, Mrs. didn't kill him and all that. And I had to go through all the ceremonies with that. Okay, so that's what happened with that one. Now the third one is Kai's father. I went to him a year
Wait,
before.
what happened to the second one? I missed.
We don't need to talk about the second one.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like thinking, was I really paying attention? Because like we went from the first one and now we're at the third one.
The third one.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I got two others as well, but let's go to to the third one. So I told him a year before, I said, you know, a year from now, we will not be together, because the lessons that we have to learn together are over. And of course I created, but I knew it. I spoke it. And that's exactly what happened. We parted. But the interesting thing about that we get along better separate from each other than what we did living with each other. And he's with another person, and so am I. But I know that there's a deep love that we have for each other. In other words, we got each other's back. So it was a whole different type of leaving and releasing. But the relationship, we have a beautiful relationship with each other.
You learned your lesson. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you graduate from 5th grade to 6th grade, or from high school, you know, out into the world or college, whatever you're going to go.
Right.
So
right,
once
right.
it's just a natural thing to do, like move on.
So, you know, it's, you know, and he loves Kai. Kai loves her father. You know, I mean, she loves her father. So, you know, so those can be taken as two tragedies, is the reason why I gave the two different ones. You can see that one ended in death, one ended in furthering life of joy and peace. So it's that's what I think Leigh's talking about. How do you change the tragedy? You know, Muhammad helped me to change the tragedy by him deciding he was leaving. He was leaving. And that was it. That was it. Yeah. So he did me a favor. He supported me with that. Yep, he sure did.
Well, on that note, we are getting ready for our break here, or we aren't getting ready, we are ready for it. And we'll just take a quick one. And, when we come back, we'll have the realm of beings weighing in on our quote today, which is release all sense of tragedy within you. Also, do not see it in others. So let's see what the realm has to say. Thanks for listening. And you're on Transformation Talk Radio. We're shifting impressions, conversations with the realm of beings.
Hello, and welcome back to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We have reached the point in the podcast where the realm comes through Gretta and gets to share their wisdom with us about the quotation. So, realm, are you present?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, the quotation that the ladies and I have been talking about this morning is release all sense of tragedy within you. Also, do not see it in others. So, what do you have to share with us today?
What you see in others is also in you.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't see it. We've been talking about that in this podcast on several occasions. So, and not only that, but why claim it for yourself? And then usually if the person is in a tragic situation as you define it, your perception has to let you say that that person is in a tragic situation. You choose the tragedy for the person, you see, because you're judging what that person is experiencing. So then you're going to say it's tragic. The person more than likely is not going to stand up and say, I'm in a tragic situation. They may just tell you, I'm in this and I'm going through this, I'm going through that. But to actually put that nomenclature to it and to say that it's a tragedy, that's on you. So if you see that it's a tragedy, what they're going through, then that means that you yourself have gone through something similar like that, or you are presently going through something like that. But you have experience in it to define it as tragedy. So, and tragedy is a big illusion. And, but it's an illusion, but it's energy. So tragedy is a living energy, So when you want to say that this person is in tragedy, you are supporting the tragedy that you see in the person. You might even make the tragedy in your perception worse than what the person who's in it thinks about
Right.
it. You see?
And again, that's that, I don't know if it was Yvonne or Gretta who brought it up, that word sense. This is like we're human and on 3D plane and we operate everything through our senses, right? So
absolutely, that was Yvonne. Yvonne said that.
So like if we're in another, if I don't know, if we're not having, like, let's say, for lack of better words to explain it, like lower feeling thoughts that we're generating, right? Like we wouldn't even necessarily be able to like have a sense of that. It won't come to us, and nor will we see it in those who are around us, right?
Absolutely. You've got to be there. You've got to be
Right.
in. That's why we're always suggesting to people to refrain as much as possible from characterizing somebody, criticizing somebody, because all of that is coming from within yourself. So as you criticize somebody, you let people know who you are if they're looking at it that way.
Right. It's like all of this is just like our projections. I mean, it's super helpful, when we can see it, when we can recognize it, when we can take responsibility for it, that what we see out there is just what's coming from here.
That's
When we have
true.
that perspective, sometimes we're not there. And, you know, we fall back into blame and judgment and criticism, but that's like still all from us. Because if you were yourself in a different place, you wouldn't see that stuff in others. They would not support you like that.
Absolutely. You have to be there. You have to be in it to perceive it.
Mm.
It's connected to your beingness. If you tell somebody, you're slow, or you don't follow through with your work, or you're not smart, you're evil. A lot of humanoids go around talking about other people are evil, 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 which is interesting to us because evil doesn't even exist. But they have to see you're evil. Okay, thanks for letting me know who you are.
It's
That's
true.
the first thing. You got to be evil first before I am.
It's easier, Realm. Don't you think it's so much easier to like blame other people when you can't recognize like those things in yourself? They're too hard to face.
Absolutely. But
Seems like a bailout, like, oh, I'm just gonna blame it. Oh, it's too much work. I'm too tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to take responsibility for this. So let me just call somebody else evil, or let me just criticize. And the thing is, though, like, it never goes away. Like, it just is like a
Right. It just
perpetuating self-fulfilling prophecy of like, you keep like throwing out those things that are inside of you that you blame other people for being or doing or saying, and then they just keep coming up, right? So I don't know, for me, I'm like, might as well deal with it now. Stop the freight train.
absolutely, absolutely. But some people, when they're on the freight train, they think they can leave the car. And once they leave the car, that particular car of the freight train, they're doing okay. They just don't know they went to the caboose.
they're still on the train.
On
It's
the
just
train.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, see, but Realm, how do we parse that out? Because like technically that could be considered changing your perspective. You went from the tragic car, to like some other part of the train. Oh, so I'm in a new place. So how how do you know you think you're in a new place, but technically you're still on the train? So how do
Right.
you actually like get off the train and let it move on without you?
The
I
first
say
thing
you
you
get
have
into
to
the
go ahead.
locomotive.
Driving it.
Yeah.
Driving it. The first thing is to recognize what it is you want to change. What is the tragedy, quote unquote, tragedy in your life that you want to change? It's important to identify it, because some people can be in situations and they think it's okay to be in that situation, that this is life for me. Look at how many people believe, humanoids in this world, who believe in destiny. This is my destiny to be on this part of the train. So I cannot move to the caboose, nor can I move to the locomotive part. I am stuck here on this part of the training.
And that's just a belief, right? Like that's all that is.
But once you believe it, you're going to continue to create it.
Right, but the belief could change. Like if you get some sort of aha moment, you know, some light shines on that place, you can, I mean, you know, it's possible. Like, I mean, there are plenty of beliefs that I have that I am not aware of, that are creating, quote unquote, without me. I'm sure of it.
Oh, no.
But I mean, but you know, eventually you can see something that was unseen before and shift.
But you have to be open to
Right. Oh yeah, of course.
Yes, because see, many people, destiny, fate, it's my destiny to drown in my own pool in my house. It's my destiny to do that. It's my destiny to be quote unquote poor. You know, because you can be poor in many ways, poor in spirit, poor in life, psychologically, emotionally, financially. Poor has many connotations to it, but you believe that you must stay in it. To get out of it, you've got to see it, and you've got to say to yourself, this is something I no longer want to experience. You see, but when you say, I no longer want to experience, that means that you have control. If you believe in fate and destiny, your control, you believe, is elsewhere. So consequently, those individuals who are stuck in that paradigm of destiny and fate are going to more than likely be there until, for some odd reason, they remove themselves out of the environment that perpetuated it. It could be a familiar environment. It could be a cultural environment. It could be a religious environment, you know, that supported them in that whole belief of destiny and fate. So that means all tragedies that come, I must accept them because that is my destiny. That is my fate. To exist in tragedy. Now, when you have a situation like that, the person may be there for their life, for this lifetime, in this reality, may stay in that. Because there's no room, they're not creating the room or the openness to explore anything else. They're happy to be in tragedy.
And that's okay, I guess, right?
It is, because it's just a lesson. And you don't know how many transitional portals they're going to go through just to learn that particular lesson. That you are in control, not that which you think is causing the tragedy is in control. You know, some people live for money. Money controls me. They give credence to all kinds of things that control their reality because they don't know that they're the ones that are doing the controlling. They're the ones that are bringing and attracting things to themselves. So this is a deep quote, and some people in this reality of their lifetime may not learn it. That's just what's real. You know, and like you said, Leigh, it's okay. It's okay to think that way. So eventually you'll create to think differently. Notice I said eventually. Eventually could be how many? You know, you go from transitional portal to transitional portal. We've never talked really about death. One day we will do that. But once you leave this transitional portal, like Yvonne talked about the gentleman who committed suicide in the woods, you know, so he decided, okay, I'm ending my life here. I don't want to deal with all of these things. The only thing is, when he sees himself in the next transitional portal, when he's sitting and looking and reviewing his lessons, because you do review them. You review, what do I still have to learn? What have I successfully learned? What have I somewhat learned? And then you move to the next part where you create the transitional portal for yourselves to assist you in learning that which you have not learned. So when he killed himself, he's just providing himself with an opportunity to keep learning that lesson that he decided he was going to terminate. But you only terminate the lesson in that space, in that reality. When you move to the next reality, it's going to be looking at you in your face saying, hi.
Right. That's the interesting thing, Realm. Like, well, first of all, I guess my question is, sometimes you, Greta, and you all talk about just like these transitional portals, and I guess I didn't really understand it, but like, is every being just a transitional portal?
Is every being in a transitional portal?
No, like we are, like, you know, we are three of us here, humans. So so is like every being just a transitional portal?
A transitional portal itself?
Yes.
Now that's an interesting thought, Leigh. We could say yes to that because you are everything.
Right, and we're just projecting whatever we are inside, outside to make it so.
You're creating, you create everything.
Literally. Right, and if you decide to like end this creation, that and you don't, I mean, I guess that's why like this, you use the word release, right? Because just what you said, you know, so you can decide that life is shitty and this is not worth living and I'm a disaster, kapow, or whatever. But because you have those thought forms, they don't, because they're energy, they don't just vanish because this, you know, human matter is not there anymore.
Well,
So
you have the other aspects of your human matter.
right.
So they're
but
right
I mean,
there.
But this is those loops, because in the time sector, everything is there, like in that contingency of time. Like, is that where all the thought patterns live?
Everything about you is living. Everything about you in this reality. Then when you move to the next reality, see, people think that, okay, I'm going to take on another life. No, you're not taking on another life. You've got the same life, but you're going into a different reality with it. It's not that you had a past life, past lives. You're connecting to other lives that are in other lateralities. But that's another thing that we need to talk about another day. But the point is that when you're in laterality number 346, you remain in laterality number 346, but you might be in transitional portal 49. And then after you complete what you want to, notice what I said, what you want to complete in the reality 49, then you're going to go to reality 50. When you go to reality 50, that which you did not complete in reality 49, you take it into reality 50, because the name of this game The name of what you call this drama is Complete the Lessons. You've agreed.
Could be a long game, something like Monopoly.
Some people, because some people, it might take them 250 Latin, transitional portals. Another person might take them only 5. It depends on the individual. It depends on where you are thinking, where are your belief systems at. Like some people who believe in the concept that I can go to hell or I can go to heaven, they're going to be a little bit longer.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say they're going to be a little bit longer because they're not understanding that they are the force, you see, and that they are creating their own reality. Heaven and hell are states of mind, not locations.
Right, exactly. So if we have the forethought when we're transitioning out of this laterality, can we, and like we're like on the like way in, I guess, we're going in and not out, but can you say like, I have completed this laterality, let me close this series and move somewhere else?
Well, the thing is that the agreement of it is that you understand that you are the force.
That's the ultimate.
That's it. You understand that you are
watching Netflix and get
yeah.
Finished with this series, went to the next one. It's the end.
Yep. You must understand that you are the force and that you've always been the force. And this was a nice illusionary trip to the fun house, as Greta calls it.
Right, but it's like so interesting because this is the only plane where we get to use the 5 senses, right? Like,
no, there are other cultures that have different senses, different
right, okay, right, like the
not only humanoids,
vision and that kind of, but I mean as a human, because that's what we're working as right now.
So as human, say that to me again, please, Leigh. What were you
as
saying?
Humanoid, like this is, as on the humanoid plane, like this is the place where we get to experience the senses, right? Like this is the place where we get to create with the matter, to like mold the clay, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Because I guess where you are, there's no molding of clay up there, or there, not up, just there.
I'm so glad you took the up away. Yes, but you have to understand, as I've stated, that all of us have stated, is that we have creation of reality experiences as well.
Right.
Ours are just different from yours, but nonetheless, we have them.
Okay, fair enough. Realm, we're in like the last couple of seconds. Any final words?
Be strong.
Yay.
Love yourselves. Don't cave in.
Thank you, Realm, for sharing your wisdom with us once again. Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Yvonne. And most of all, thank you, listeners, for joining us on another episode of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Until we create each other again, be well.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at transformationtalkradio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.